Howdy, everyone. Welcome to Tilson Live. It is Tuesday. It is 2 o'clock. We are your hosts. I'm Eric Allard, part of the fourth generation of the Tilson family, joined as I am each and every week by the great, the wonderful, the magnificent, the Vice President of Marketing and Customer Experience, Dawn Dantzler. Howdy, Dawn.
Hey, Eric. How's it going?
It's going great. It's going wonderful. We are actually getting a real spring in Texas this year. It's amazing. It's cool weather, and not for like a day. It's like 3 days, and it's going to get cooler this weekend. So this is...
You're going to scare it.
I know. It doesn't know where it is. It doesn't know it's in Southeast Texas. But anyway, it is 2 o'clock. We are live on Facebook, live on YouTube, live on Vimeo for all three people that are on Vimeo. Maybe none. I don't know.
They all work for us.
On there. They don't work for us. But we are here to answer all of your questions, talk about all things building on your land. So we're Tilson Homes. We've been doing this since 1932. We are a fourth generation family owned and operated company operating only and completely in the great state of Texas, or as I call the Republic of Tilson. So welcome, friends. Jump in. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us where you're building, what part of the process that you are in. We love hearing from each and every one of you. And this whole show is about you. And Dawn has something very special dialed up today that's very helpful. Go ahead, Dawn.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
So we today are going to talk about the most commonly asked questions that we get about building on your land. Some of them apply to specifically Tilson. Some of them just apply in general to building on your land. So we've got a few starter questions for everybody that we did want to run through. But as always, ask your questions because we are here to answer whatever is on your mind. So want to make sure that we are addressing what you came here to see.
Yeah, we are here each and every week to give you guys all the security and the comfort and the information that you possibly could need to make this decision for you and your family. We know that there is a real deep emotional feeling for people wanting to be independent, live this independent lifestyle, kind of get away from it all, build the home of their dreams, not someone else's dream, and make the changes they want to make to it, pick the colors they want, and build that thing where they want it to be built. So whether that's family land, whether it's a place in an acreage community you found, whether it's inside of an infill lot, we do that from time to time. But do jump in, tell us where you're watching from, where you are building, what part of the process that you're in, and of course, ask questions. The whole we learn from each other. Everybody in this community learns from one another. So Dawn, without further ado, is anyone here, or are we just flapping jaws?
We do. We have some people here. We've got Christian. Howdy, y'all. Lisa Sumner and I are en route from DFW to Bandera, so we can be ready for our stakeout tomorrow morning in Bridlegate with Alan. We're currently driving, but we'll be listening on the way down. Awesome.
I'm going to guess you're somewhere on 281. I'm guessing.
And they're so excited to get the ball rolling on their Hill Country Magnolia, aka Shayla Pretty. Awesome. Oh, love it.
I'm glad you pronounced that. I'll do the Texas towns and counties. You do the French stuff.
The French, yeah. Awesome. So much fun. We've got Tony from Dallas. Hope to build in Palmer, Lone Oak, or Van.
Okay, very cool. Well, that's a spread.
Yeah. We've got Nate from Houston. However, what all states does Tilson build in?
There's other states?
Yeah, we only are aware of one, Texas, the best one. That is the only state we build in.
Yeah, we are. But we don't even build in all of Texas, by the way. So.
Yep. We've got Francis. Do you give advice on septic and well building in Hudson Oaks?
We have advice. We have opinions. We have some facts. But yes, we absolutely can help you out with septic and well. So ask those questions. That's what we're here for.
Yep. We've got Stan checking in. Hi, you two. Hey, Stan. How are you doing?
What's up, Stan?
And then we've got Tony, who was talking about Palmer, Lone Oak, or Van, asking approximately how long for the build.
Well, it's funny that you asked that question because you're talking about three different areas. And so we are going to get into this. I'll answer it briefly here. I would allow about 12 to 14 months, probably on the lower end of that in a rural area like that. And we're going to talk a lot about how it depends on the customer. The customer actually has a significant amount of control of how long the process takes. And we will talk about that.
Yes. We've got Zach asking about water wells, do's and don'ts near Floresville.
Yes. Yeah, we can talk about that. So Floresville, for those of you who don't know, it's on the south side of San Antonio. Still doable area for water wells. I haven't seen a whole lot of issues there. Where when it comes to Floresville or anywhere for that matter, it comes down to about gallons per minute. So how many gallons per minute can that well produce for you? It'd be great to get like over 40 or 50. That would be awesome. Over 50 would be optimal. I've seen some people that can get by on as little as 8. That's rough. 8 gallons a minute. What you're going to need if that's all it'll do is you're going to need some very large storage tanks. So it's a weird thing about wells. It's one of those things that you don't really know until you get into it, like until they start drilling.
Mm-hmm.
I have an example. Right out here, we were drilling a well, and we got to like 360 feet, something like that. And started getting water, but the most we could get was 8 gallons a minute. We pulled everything out, moved over like 12 feet, went down to 345 and got 52 gallons a minute. So they're funny and finicky little things, wells. So the big, but basically, if you can get the high gallon per minute, you don't need a big storage tank. Just a pressure tank will be fine. If all you can get is a low gallons per minute, you're going to need to plan on having a large storage tank of some sort to supplement while that well's trying to catch up.
Okay, good to know. We got Chris saying howdy from Fort Worth. Hey, Chris.
What's up, Chris?
We've got Usman. Howdy from Dripping Springs. I've missed Tilson Tuesday. Yeah, we've missed you too.
Likewise.
You haven't been here.
Likewise.
Zach is also asking, is it better to find property with an older inactive well?
Man, it can work. So actually, and this sounds very strange, my brother-in-law, we built them a house outside of Driftwood, Texas, and they did exactly that. The 2-acre lot that they bought had a well on it already, and it was inactive. It wasn't being used at the time, but it was fully functional, and they had a well company come out there and test it, and I think they did a few little things, touched up the motor and changed out some parts here and there, and good to go. And they've been in it for 6 years, I think, now.
Okay.
And we have Christmas there every single year. We got 14 to 20 people in that house for 4 days. It's the highlight of my Christmas. Anyway, we're all and we don't have any issues with water. So
all right. Tony's saying
going back to that. Back then they're very expensive to put in, right? In that area, in the hill country where you're talking about, even Floresville, but more so probably Driftwood, Dripping Springs, where there's a lot of rock.
Actually, you're digging through a lot of rock to be like, nope, this one's not going to work.
Right. Water wells are you could spend $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 quick in the hill country west of 35 on drilling a water well. So if you can find one that already has one on there and it's functional, and you can probably get it tested before you buy the property. You can make that. I'm not your realtor. I'm not giving financial advice. I'm not a lawyer, certainly not a real estate lawyer. But some people have been very successful if they make part of their offer contingent upon the testing of a water well.
Oh, smart.
You could do that if there's a well there. One could do that. The seller doesn't have to agree to it, but you can certainly ask and make that part of the offer.
Awesome. Good advice. Tony is saying she loves all 3 areas, and that's why she's kind of stuck trying to decide between them.
Van is cool. That's out near Canton and all that. That's a cool, beautiful East Texas spot. Christian
says he's doing the drive via the scenic route.
Oh, okay. So he's going 16.
Yeah, he's on Highway 16.
It's a pretty drive. It's one of the prettiest drives in Texas, actually.
Yeah. See, and Nate is saying that June is National Home Ownership Month. I did not realize that.
Who knew?
And it's asking if we'd be interested in speaking about building on your land at our annual housing fair. Absolutely. Go ahead and send us messages through you're on Facebook. Messages through there, and I will get in touch with you after this, and we'll figure out who we'll send out there to check for you.
Who knew?
We got Robert watching from Whittier, California, looking to move to Texas in the near future. Awesome. Good decision. Welcome. We got Kristen. Hey, Eric and Dawn just stopped by our property, and brick is going on our canyon today.
Oh, very cool. That's exciting.
That's wonderful.
Thanks for sharing, Kristen.
Tony says, sounds crazy, but can you build before utilities are run, or do you have to have them first?
Okay, so it depends on what the utilities are, Tony. Excellent question. These are great questions.
These are awesome questions.
We don't even need our boilerplate.
We don't.
We have them just in case people get bored. So Power is a big one.
Mhm.
Power is a big deal. You need to start working on that ASAP when you find a place, and that might even be part of your journey in your shop. Is say, what is it like to get power out here?
Mhm.
The places you're talking about, I haven't heard that it's a big issue. In East Texas, they tend to be able to get it pretty quick. Most of those co-ops out there, they're not dealing with a lot of rock. They haven't had the big demand that like Pernal Electric Co-op and Austin Energy and some of those other ones have had. So, but power will stop the show. We don't expect you to have the septic system in beforehand. In fact, we'd rather you not have the septic system in beforehand
Mhm.
because we don't want to damage it. I don't want to run over those tanks. I don't want to run over the sprinkler heads or any of that. So it can go in basically, as Ms. Galindo is, once the brick is on the house, that's a great time to start working on getting the septic in. Water well, it can be there or not right away. We do need it within a month or so, though, because we will need it for paint, sheetrock, paint.
Clean up.
Yeah, it's nice to have it there, but you need to start working on. I would at least get an idea of what the time frames are because there are some well drillers that are 6 months out. So that's something to think about for sure. And then the only other one would be gas, which would probably be propane where you're going to be. I doubt that you'll find a subdivision with natural gas. You might. If you do, fine, great. And if not, propane's not a big deal. It can go in way later. It's quick. It's a 3-day turnaround, probably maybe 2 weeks at the most. It's not going to hold you up. But power and water,
Yeah.
those are important in that order.
Yeah. Propane, is that still, can we still to pass inspection and just like get the little tank for the grill and like hook it up and be like, yeah, that work?
Depends on where.
Okay.
So some places, yes. Most cities, no. They're going to want the tank in there.
Okay.
They want to see it. They want to test for leaks, all that kind of stuff.
It's been a long time since I closed on a house with propane, and I remember them like bringing in the very silly, hooking up the little barbecue propane, baby propane to my house to be like, yep, it works.
Yeah. And you're kind of also would depend on what all is propane, right? Like if your water heaters and furnaces are propane, you're going to need if you're talking about just the cooktop,
I think I just had like my gas fireplace. Yeah. All right. We've got Clayton. He's saying he is from Brown County in the early stages of building in Gonzales.
Beautiful.
Awesome. And Christian Sharon, it's a busy week as we'll be attending the event at San Marcos on Saturday and have our design meeting in Bernie this week too. Oh, wow. You're just like making... I knew about San Marcos. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want you to think I was a creepy stalker. But I did see that you signed up for that. But I did not know about the color appointment. That's awesome. And Frances is saying she's interested in a canyon with a garage. Yeah, very popular. Yeah, very beautiful. Good plan. We got Kristen saying hi there from Chandler.
Hey, more East Texas folks.
Yeah. Up. Looks like Tony picked a favorite part. She said Van is perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's a pretty place. It's got the hills, it's got the grass, got the pine trees, it's got it all.
We got Julie. Hey, strangers. Happy Tuesday. We're so happy we chose Tilson to build our house, and we're really grateful for the quality. Oh, thank you so much. I missed you. You've been gone the last few weeks.
How long have we been gone?
We haven't been gone. No, see, Julie closed. Okay. So it's one of those, it's that like double-edged sword. I'm always so happy when people close, but like they leave us a lot. And so I'm glad she's back. But I know she's homeschooling now, so that probably makes it tougher to tune in unless she just like puts it on and lets us entertain Jet.
Well, thoughts and prayers for Jet. If that's where
Christian says his signal is spotty down Highway 16, so we'll go back to listening only and focus on the driving. Yes, please focus on the driving.
Have a great show. They basically drive themselves now. They basically do.
We got Tony working on it now. Currently have 5 acres in Lone Oak, but Van has my heart. Oh, so I understand. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. We've got Megan who's looking to build in Shiner, Texas. How long would you say it would take for the build?
All right, Shiner, you're probably talking, you could get right on that 12 month, maybe 10 to 12 months. Kind of that Shiner, Fayetteville area that we've got some bandwidth, we've got some capacity. We have a really good trade base that's prepared to work, and they're not backed up too much. So that's it could. I mean, we do have people. I know this is going to blow people's mind. We have some houses that have been sold and started and closed in 10 months. That are on their way. Things are normalizing. That's not the majority. So most of you on here will not get it done in 10 months. A few of you might, but I would say you're close to that 12 to 10 to 12 month time frame, maybe 14. Again, it depends a lot on the customer. These utilities that we're talking about, the preparedness of the land, how decisive you are, or rather how indecisive maybe someone is. Because basically once you've picked that plan and done the agreement and you start picking those colors, it's not like every time you make a change to it, you're adding time. Even if it's minimal change, you're still going to add time.
Right.
That's where the time adds up. The time adds up typically with customer changes. Again, it's your prerogative. Okay. This is your forever home. So we understand that. But also the utilities. Utilities is the other big variable that adds a significant amount of time. Some other outliers would be like if you're in a place that has to be platted or replatted. I mean, that just happened. A city or an ETJ, extra territory of jurisdiction, which is kind of the outskirts of a city, but it's not quite the city yet, but it will be the city. Some of those things can add significant amounts of time. Lining up surveyors, lining up plats, going before commissioner's court, all that kind of city council, those add time. But changes and utilities is probably the biggest control, those are the biggest control the customers have over the length of time. And it can add months. Yeah. We're not talking about a couple of days here and there. We're talking months.
Yeah, it's nice to be back to that because for a long time, we were in the like supply chain shortages and all of that. So it's nice to be back in the phase where like you guys actually have influence in how long it's going to take. So we're excited. Like that's a good thing. That means you guys are in the driver's seat rather than having to like hurry up and wait. Is what I heard a lot, which was very frustrating for everybody, including us.
Yeah.
We've got Rosendo. My wife and I live in Cooper, Texas, but my wife will not live in a mobile home. We've looked at prefab homes and quality and looks are great, but tiny. What options does Tilson have?
We build. Everything we do is stick built, custom. So it's brought out stick by stick, brick by brick, hand built, custom on your land. Every nail, every board, everything. We don't do anything prefabricated. Nothing's in a factory. Everything is custom built.
Yep.
So that's what we offer. Quality. There are some very nice mobile homes and very nice modular homes out there. They do not hold a candle to a custom built home, where craftsmen are cutting every board and doing it on site. And yeah.
Okay.
That's not opinion. That's fact.
Yep. Tony is saying she doesn't want gas or propane. Is there other options? Looking for something tankless.
So if you're not going to have natural gas or propane, you are going to be all electric. And in a case like that, I actually recommend against a tankless water heater. They do make electric tankless water heaters. So don't throw me the hate mail, tankless water heater companies. I know you're out there. I know you exist. The kicker is how much energy that it takes to heat the water where my wife's going to want it. Okay, like I'm all for a cold shower. Bring it on. Good for your cellular development, recovery. Anyway,
makes your hair shinier.
Difference is for real. Yeah. Difference. Maybe I did too much cold showering. Different story for a different day. But on tankless electric, first of all, they require, like double 50 amp breaker. Okay. So because it's having to heat water in a very small space, right? In a tankless, there's no tank. So it's having to heat the water. The groundwater is probably 50 or 60 degrees. It's trying to heat that up as it kind of snakes through this tankless water heater. So about the best ones out there, I should research this again, but last time I researched this, you could get like 107 degrees at 7 gallons per minute. Which 7 gallons per minute is not bad for a shower. That's fine. You could take a shower like that. I could wash my hair. Dawn's would be a little bit more of a challenge. But 107 degrees sounds hot. That is not hot. If you were to climb up in your attic or go to your garage and look at where your water heater is set, it's probably close to 117, 122 degrees. And so, because you're going to ideally mix it with cold water, right? In order for you to even feel like it's hot water, it has to be hotter than 98.6, right? So it's got to be 100 degrees basically for it to even feel warm to you. So what I'm saying is that at 107, that might be about what you shower at normally. Maybe not quite that. A hot tub's usually like 102, 103 max. And if you're only using the hot water valve, in other words, you have the hot water valve all the way on because you don't want to mix any cold water with it because you want a hot shower, it's going to feel like you don't have a lot of pressure. you have all of the pressure that's coming out of the hot water valve, but you have no cold water coming. So
Okay.
does that make sense? You're kind of
Mm-hmm.
losing some of that throttle, some of those gallons per minute. Whereas ordinary on a gas tankless water heater or a electric or gas conventional water heater, the water is already sitting there at 120 degrees.
Yeah.
And so you're mixing it. So you get the gallons per minute and you get to comfortable temperature, 104 to 110 degrees.
So here's my curiosity question. What are the advantages of a tankless water heater? Because I had always heard it meant you got hot water faster, but that has not been my experience.
That's not true. Yeah, not true.
Is it just that there's no tank?
Dispelling the rumor. Yeah, so that is a great, because it is a misnomer a lot of times. People say, oh, I want tankless water here because I want
Because it's going to be on demand.
I want it instant.
No.
It's not. Those are two different products.
Nah.
There is on demand. That's a thing. Those are typically located under a sink. Like they're at the point they would have to be on demand. Like when you turn it on, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
The other way to accomplish on demand would be with a circulator pump. So you can actually put it on a timer. So it's usually in their attic or garage, wherever your water heater is. And it cuts on at, let's say, 6:30 in the morning and starts circulating hot water throughout the home.
Okay.
So that as people are waking up and it's time to start brushing our teeth and getting our showers and washing our face and all that stuff, there's hot water going by every sink, almost like a subway. It's there.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll shut off at whatever you said, 8, 9 o'clock, and then maybe kick back on in the evening. Trouble with that is you're paying to run water all the time. You're also paying to heat the water. So advantage of tankless. They still have to be maintained. You still have to drain them and all that kind of stuff, just like it would a conventional. They're very good for vacation homes, things like that, where you don't have to worry about 50 gallons of water sitting somewhere in your house ready to make a mess.
Okay.
There's some peace of mind there. They tend to last a little longer if they're properly maintained than a conventional water heater. A lot of that depends on the water itself, though. So that they typically, you're not, the theory is you're not paying to heat water that's just sitting there, because even on a conventional tank water heater, it heats the water up. Let's say it's sitting in a garage or attic or utility room, whatever. It heats the water up, and it's insulated and everything like that. But let's say the water comes in at 60 degrees, it heats it up to 120 degrees, and it sits there all day and no one uses it. Well, it's going to cool down, right? Because it's not sitting, just like ice will melt in a cooler. The water is going to get cool sitting in there. So it constantly, the gas will fire back up, or the electric rods, the elements will fire back up to keep heating that same water over and over. So there's some energy savings. Some energy savings. And I say that because
you're making the faces and talking in a way that makes me feel like HGTV got together with the manufacturers of the hot water of tankless hot water heaters and just like convinced us that this is what we wanted.
Yeah, it is really 6 one way, half dozen the other, because what they'll say is we're going to save you money by not using as much energy. Well, that's not true, because a conventional tank water heater is probably, let's say gas, is like 35,000 BTU, maybe 40,000 BTU. So British thermal units, so how much fuel it burns. Well, and so, yeah, if that runs 2 or 3 times a day, OMG, big deal. Well, your tankless water heater is like 90,000 BTU. Why? Same thing as on electric. Like the water is moving through in a very small space. It has got to put the flame to it hard to heat it up. So whatever you're saving in water by not having to heat, I guarantee you're burning it in propane or natural gas.
Got it.
Now, the one claim to fame you could say that a tankless water heater has and will beat a conventional hands down no matter what is forever hot water. Like you can turn that hot water valve on at any sink, shower, or whatever. Once the cold water is pushed out and it starts having, as long as you have gas, you will have hot water.
Gotcha.
Whereas in a conventional, as you know, we're getting ready for church on Sunday morning, or we're all getting ready for a wedding.
Hot water's not going to run out. Got it.
Right. The third person to do at the shower, sorry, bud. You're getting a cold shower.
But the first person's still waiting for it.
So that is the real advantage of in fact, I think Renai, they used to, because no one could spell Renai, which is the tank water heater brand. I think they bought the URL foreverhotwater.com. Like that was their URL for a long, long time. Because that's really the claim to fame. You will not, as long as you got fuel, it's going.
But with a tank water heater, you have fresh water for the zombie apocalypse. So
You
there's
do.
that.
You have it.
There's
It's
that.
there.
It's
It's there.
there. It's there. Got it.
Don't tell your neighbors unless you love them.
Christine says, hey, I'm building a Fayetteville on Lake Fork soon. I have a site question about how close the concrete truck has to be from the slab location. How far does the concrete delivery boom reach?
Okay. So the booms will reach typically about 100 feet, 90 feet, thereabouts. The on a pump truck, I like to have the construction drive to within about 25 feet of the slab. That's what I'd really like. All the way up to the slab if you can, but surely within 25 feet, 20, 25 feet or so. And we'll set up there, and mainly and then it has to have enough space around it where trucks can back up to it. Typically, we like to be able to get 2 trucks backed up to it at one time. So the other thing about having a construction drive is great. Well, that's essential. It's not just great; it's actually necessary. But having a pad type area would be optimal, almost like a lay down yard. So where trucks can turn around and back up. Big trucks, we're not turning around a golf cart; we're turning around a 80,000-pound concrete truck. But they'll get the boom set up first where they want it and where they can access all parts and beams of the foundation, the forms that are set up. And then ideally we get that's positioned, and then trucks can still get in and out as they pull out. They have somewhere they can wash out, and then they can take off. So there's a lot to orchestrate at a slab pour, and it's hectic, and it's dark
and quick
and dark and crazy.
Yeah. All right. Zach is asking us if we have any info on oak wilt, and can you prevent it, mitigate it?
Man, we're diving into the real Central Texas. It's a big deal. Oak wilt is a very, very big deal. I can actually say that I don't have all the expertise. There is someone in our company who I do know has a significant amount of expertise, and that's Danielle Watson in Georgetown. She had to do a significant oak wilt mitigation on her property in Georgetown before they built on it. And the cities will require it in a lot of those cases. Like they will prescribe what needs to be done. But in a lot of cases, it involves trenching, so cutting the root systems. It involves, in a lot of cases, putting down some type of root barrier. Sometimes they'll let you put down kind of a galvanized, think like an old tin roof on a barn. You can put that in to prevent the roots from growing further. But in a lot of cases, and I think in her case, they made them do like concrete runners. So they actually had to set little forms and pour concrete to prevent the roots from being able to continue to grow. So it's very difficult to well, you can't treat it. I mean, once oak trees get it, it's going. And
so what is
it? It's a disease. It's a disease that predominantly in live oak trees, which is the beautiful landscape of Texas, right? So if you go to our Georgetown office or you go to the Bernie office, that the beautiful trees that you see there are oak trees, and they are prone to getting oak wilt, which is it's almost like a fungus. I could be wrong on that. Somebody can correct me if they want to, but I know it for sure it's a diase, and once a tree gets it, there ain't ungetting it. And it's
so we're just trying to keep the root systems from intertwining.
And it spreads, I mean, like crazy through the root systems. And they'll take out hundreds of acres of beautiful, and live oak trees grow very slow, of course. So to get one that's big around as we have those places, you're talking about 100 years. You can't just go pop a new one in. Pine tree, plant one in 20 years. It's going to look like a pine tree. But a live oak tree, you plant it today, your kids will enjoy it. You will be dead.
Your kids might enjoy it. Yeah. Okay.
So, gotcha. There are companies in the hill country, Zach, that specialize in it. But you're probably talking about some type of root barrier system, and there is some spray chemicals that are involved to kill it in the root system. So great question.
All right. You know a lot of things, Eric. We get Julie saying, I'll never forget y'all. Pray for mama with the homeschooling. We're thinking of you. It's been saying, let me start by saying building with Tilson has been a great learning experience. My latest area of focus is water softeners. Apparently, YouTube claims they leak after some time. Do the water softeners loop have a drain to keep the water out of the garage?
So if you did a if we roughed in for it, Usman, and forgive me, I just don't know for sure, but if Tilson did the rough in for the water softener, then yes, there's a drain that we provide, and it drains out of the house. If they're retrofitted, they still need to drain out. They'll usually drain it into some type of a leach field or rock tank type of thing. They'll dig out. We see that a lot in the hill country because they don't have to worry about holding. But we can't, and you really aren't supposed to drain them into a septic system or sewer system. So they need to have their own separate drain. And yeah, when we rough in for it, there's a drain for it that goes to the outside. You need to find that stub out or have us help you find the stub out. If we did that, it may be under the ground. Obviously, it will be right on the other side of wherever the water softener rough in is. There's typically a loop, and there's a 110 outlet, so it's pretty easy to find. Go outside there, dig down. There should be a piece of PVC sticking out if we roughed in for it.
Okay, perfect. Nate is asking, how much flexibility do I have building on my own land? For example, if I provide Tilson with house plans purchased online.
What do we do, Dawn?
So it's going to depend upon what plans you have, Nate. I am going to say if you have seen them online, don't buy them yet unless you want to do exactly what you're seeing, because we're redrawing the entire plan, and odds are there's probably something that you want to change, so we can help you find something similar. Because what we're going to do is look at your plan and make sure it's something that we're comfortable building. You know, we have styles that we are much more comfortable with than others. You know, we're not going to do walls and walls of glass, like super modern flat roof. We are not for you if you're looking for lots of gingerbread trim on your Victorian house. Like that's a different skill set. So we're going to want to look at it, make sure it's something that we can do. And then what's going to happen is you're going to meet with a consultant, and they're actually going to take one of our existing plans and kind of modify it backward into what the plan you found looks like. And they're just doing that so that we can give you a ballpark quote. They have all the tools that they need in each office to say, hey, if I change this plan like this is about how much it's going to cost. If you're comfortable with that investment level, they would then send it on and get you the more formal quote, and then we'd move forward. But honestly, I'm going to go back to what Holly said in one of our very first episodes. The flexibility that you have when you're looking at one of our plans and you're making changes is three things. You've got the laws of physics. Can it physically be done? You've got building code, and then you've got budget. And those are pretty much your limits. Other than like there's a handful of stuff that I kind of mentioned before that we don't do. So you've got a lot of flexibility. It's your house. We want to create.
And I want to add to that. That's 100% correct. The reason we're going to redraw it, because we get that like, why would you draw it again? We have to put it into our software. So all of our takeoffs, estimates, purchase orders, work orders, it's all pushed from the plan. So we do a 3D model of every single plan that we do. And that 3D model rendering, the software pushes how many 2x4s, 2x6s, pieces of sheetrock, pieces of plywood, doors, door trim, sheets of OSB. All of that is pushed from the computer software. So just buying the plan, even if you buy the CAD files, it's not going to, ours is a very specific version of Revit, and that pushes through the software, the estimating software that we use, actually into our accounting software. So that's why we have to redraw the plan completely, no matter what, whether you buy it or not.
Right.
We are going to have to draw the plan from scratch. Now, that's not to say that, buy it, bring it in. You should, if we are replicating a plan, you need to buy it so that you have the rights to it. Those things are copyrighted, so that would be the right thing to do, and then we would put it into our system.
If you change more than 30%, copyright doesn't apply.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer.
So I'm not either, but that's what agency life attorneys always told me. That it was 30%. But yeah, I mean, it's so rare that somebody comes in and is like, I want exactly this, and they actually stick to it. Yeah. The other thing I will say about us redrawing this, and this is even if you've gone to an architect, they like to do fun things like say cabinets per builder. Yeah. So we have to have conversations about exactly what do you want in that kitchen cabinetry and how do you want all of that set up and those types of things. So it's best to come in and show us what you got. All right. We've got Michelle. Hey there, watching from Canyon Lake. Just joined in, lost track of time. We did too. We get on tangents and talk about all kinds of things, but you can rewind when we're done.
Yes, because you missed the secret of life, Michelle. So sorry.
You did. We talked about zombie apocalypses. Like you missed it. We've got Christian pulling into
Oh.
Fredericksburg. Are we jealous? Yes,
I
we
would
are.
be, except
We are
that I
very,
think
we
I'll
are
be
jelly.
there depending on where Justin has us routed. I'll be there either Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. So I'm going there sometime this week as my travels.
You and Justin are going
We are
adventuring?
going on an adventure. Yep.
Okay, the last time that Justin went adventuring, he sent us all kinds of fun pictures for social
Yeah.
media.
That
So
ain't
I am
happening.
expecting.
I
I
don't
will let
play
him
his
know.
reindeer games.
I need blue bonnet pictures of
They've all gone
Eric.
to seed. There ain't no blue bonnets left.
I need pretend. We got Christine. Time frame to build on Lake Fork, Wood County from the time we start putting down
Okay,
forms.
so great question. I like the way you asked it because you're talking about actual construction time. And for that, you're talking 220, 230 days of construction. So what that doesn't take, so what is that? That's 9, 10 months, 9 months. No, 7 to 8 months. Okay. I know.
Don't ask me to
Yeah,
math.
7, 8 months of actual construction is what our goal is. 225 days is Justin Ordino's goal. He's our senior vice president of construction. His goal is 225 days, what we're shooting for. So that's the goal and really from that point, it really should happen. Because what you're not including in that is the development of the site. And the designing of the plan and the engineering of the foundation and the soil testing and the geotechnical investigation and the results of that and the res check for the energy compliance and the manual J calculation for your HVAC system and choosing your colors and signing your plans and getting permits and designing a set. Like all those things have to happen first. And that's what could take at least 3, in some cases 6 months, depending on what all it requires. I don't know if in Wood County where you're building on the lake, if it's in a subdivision, it probably is if it's actually on the water, or you are one lucky person if you've got like 10 acres on the water that's not in the subdivision. You know what I would do? Subdivide it and sell it. That's what I'd do. And go buy you another one. So anyway, but from what you're talking about, 225 days.
Okay. All right. Kristen is asking, what is the best plan y'all would suggest for a family of 7? We have 5 kids, also possibly need a space for my mother-in-law.
The best plan, I mean, you're looking for a lot of house, right? So I don't know. What is is the Granbury our big 2-story?
Yes.
The Granbury is a good one. It's a good way to get a lot of rooms. The Preston is a good one, and of course I'd also recommend the Paladuro, but certainly the Preston. You can house hack that thing pretty good. And if you're looking for something for a little bit lower budget, the Gonzales is a good one. You can add some footage to that too, but those would be my 3 for just space, volume of space would be Granbury, Preston, and maybe Gonzales, a distant third, depending on budget.
Sounds good. We got Joylene. Her and her wife are thinking about doing the canyon. Awesome. That's a great house. Very popular. If you haven't been to Bryan to check it out and you can do it, highly recommend making the trip. If not, we've got videos and everything of that. And we've got customer videos on the canyon too. It's a great plan. We've got Shonda building the Angelina on Richland Chambers Lake, spraying insulation this week, brick in 2 weeks. Awesome. You are moving right along.
And kudos to your builder for giving you a little bit of vision there and serving you with what's going to be happening. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. We've got Renee hoping to get an answer. We have 30 acres and currently have a mobile home on the front part that our daughter lives in. We are now wanting to build our forever home on back of the land. Is that okay?
Yes. So broadly speaking, yes. There's going to be some things we need to know that we're going to have to navigate. It doesn't say where the property is, so the county may have something to say about how this is done or how we go about doing this. So we'll get some guidance from them. I don't know if there's any money owed on the 30 acres. If there's money owed on the 30 acres, the lender is going to have something to say about it. You may have to get a partial release of lien on a portion of the property. I don't know if you're getting a loan on the home that you're considering to build with us. And you are building with us. So I need to know if you are considering getting a loan for that. If you're paying cash, it opens up a lot of doors and options. If you're getting a loan, which is what most of us do, then there are some criteria that must be met from the federal guidelines. So Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have things to say about multiple single-family residences on one piece of collateral property. In fact, it says it's exactly like that. Like, you can't have multiple single-family residences on one piece of collateral property. Thou shalt not. So what does that mean? Well, it means a couple of things. We may have to do a survey out, right? So we may have to, and let's say that your daughter's mobile home is right in the center. Okay, I'm going to draw probably something your land does absolutely not look like, which is a perfect rectangle, but maybe it is.
Okay.
Here's road. The road's here at the bottom. I wrote upside down. And then let's say we got a mobile home right there up by the road on the 30 acres, and you're wanting to build somewhere back here. What we may have to do, if the county will allow us, is either cut out this mobile home, literally just like that, imaginary line, survey.
Be like, that's its own
baby. Yeah. I mean, ideally, the mobile home's over here in a corner. We just cut the corner out. And you come back and you can now there are some counties that have outlawed these. This is called a flag lot because it looks like a flag. So there are some counties aren't letting you do this anymore. They don't want you cutting up the acreage like that. So that's why I say the county will have a say, but we can survey out wherever the mobile home is, and it has to be at some kind of standalone support. So it'll have to have its house and its septic system and frontage. It can't be landlocked. It has to have access, ingress and egress. It has to have a way in and out. It has to have a wastewater system. The water can be shared. So you could actually share a well if you wanted to. You can share a septic system. It gets very complicated. And my guess is the one built for that mobile home is probably not designed for more than that. So that's out of the picture anyway. And to overhaul it, you're cheaper just to buy a new one when you build the house in the back. So it is very doable. We do it all the time. There are a couple of things we need to know to help you through it, as far as is the money on the property, who the lender is, are you borrowing, are you doing a mortgage to build the new home, and what does the county have to say? And then we'll all pray that you are not in a city. You probably aren't with 30 acres, but I've seen crazier. I hope it's not Seguin. I take that back. I hope it is Seguin. I hope it's not
Shirts. Were you thinking Shirts?
Thank you. I apologize, Seguin. We love you. We love you, Seguin. Seguin is wonderful. Shirts, not cool. You are not cool.
No. This is the part, folks, where we were talking about that we have a lot of opinions. That's one of them. All right, we've got Rita sharing. She has tankless in her motor home. Multiple people can shower, etc., without running out of hot water. Okay,
boom,
got it.
Testimonial done.
Yep.
By the way, I tested. They have apparently abandoned the foreverhotwater.com. I guess they figured it out. Google can fix it for you.
Oh, okay.
It seems.
Tammy Sharon, I'm having a hard time deciding on a floor plan. We're building on our own land, which is a little over an acre. Do you have floor plans that I can look at? Oh, do we? We have so many floor plans. If you go to our website, it is one of the top links on there that you can go there and look at all the floor plans to your heart's content. And you can actually look at our starting pricing on there too, if you just pick your county that you're looking to build in. So we have lots of stuff that you can look. I'll go ahead and I'm pulling it up so I can share. So what you're going to want to do, Tammy, is go onto our website and either come down here and do your floor plan search, or come up here and find your floor plans. And then here they all are. And there's going to be this view more button down here. So you can continue to look at all of them. And then what I was talking about before, you can sort your results. You can search by number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, all of that. And if you choose a county in here, the base pricing is going to populate in there. So you can browse to your heart's content. And if you are not someone who likes to look at things digitally, you can also go into our locations and they can guide you through. They have them all printed for you.
What I recommend is make an appointment with a consultant. This is what they are paid to do, is ask you questions, because there's somebody you can play a lot with the floor plans. Dawn and her team have done incredible things with our website, and you can do all the custom options, but it doesn't end there. There are other things that can be done with a sales consultant. If you tell them, here's what we really need, here's what we got to have, here's what would be nice, but we can live without, here's what I really don't like at all. And that's their whole job. They have that portfolio memorized, and they start rolling through and know what they can change and suit your budget. So,
yeah. So if you like to people, you do what he said. If you're self-serve like me and you want to like go in, you do what I said. His way's probably faster, but you know, some of us aren't people-y. We've got David saying howdy.
What's
Hey,
up, David?
Good to see you. Andy is asking if you want a lesson on natural
Andy
gas.
Allard has forgotten more about natural gas than I'll ever know, so I am not going to get into a battle of wits with that young man. By the way,
We should bring him on.
Oh,
We should not bring
you should
him
do
on.
it. He'll do it right now, unless he's busy working. He needs to be careful. His boss might be watching.
He is saying that everything you're saying is spot on.
Yeah.
So, do you want me to print? We can screen grab those printed out, frame it for you.
It's all good. It's all good. we left the pride long ago. That's not true either. But howdy, Andy.
All right.
He's sneaking up on a big birthday, big one.
Oh. Yep. Uh-oh.
About to put the 30s astern.
Latoya is asking, do you build barn homes?
All right, so I'm going to assume that you're talking about barn dominiums, and the truthful short answer is no. We don't build barn dominiums. We don't do metal. Now we will build a separate metal building, or help you line up construction of a separate metal building if you want to do that. We got some folks in specific areas that we can reach out to, but there's a couple of reasons why we don't do barn dominiums. One of them is they are a little tricky on financing. They are not always financed like a single family resident, even though they look just like a single family residence in a lot of cases. But Fannie Mae guidelines in a lot of cases, most cases, in most counties, will not lend on a barn with a house inside of it.
Which may be relevant for her. She's talking about USDA.
Yeah,
funding,
I doubt that they will lend on a barn dough. I don't know for sure. They could, but I don't know that they do that. They have some pretty strict guidelines. Of course, they also have income limits with USDA. We have not had a lot of luck doing USDA funded loans. I know of maybe two that we've done successfully in 20 years. They may be a good deal now with rates, but the ones we've done and looked at, when we compared them with FHA or conventional, or certainly VA, if that's an option for you, they didn't really hold a candle to the conventional financing or the FHA financing. So do some research, because the funding, there are income limits on the USDA. In other words, you can't make over X amount of dollars per year. And there's also, of course, caps on how much you can spend on a home with USDA funding, and it's by county. And so it varies across the country, county by county. So ask those questions and maybe sit down even with one of our lenders. It costs nothing. They're not going to just pull your credit, because you talk to them. You have to give written permission to do that. So, but it's worth asking those questions. It's a good question.
Okay. We've got Ann saying hi from Rockport.
Ann, good to see you again.
We've got Stacy asking, are cement driveways included with a build, or is that an extra cost?
Depends on where you're building, Stacy. So a lot of the municipalities that we build in, we do include them. And then a couple of subdivisions, so Deer Forest, Texas Grand Ranch, Republic Grand Ranch, those are included. If you're looking at the online pricing, like Don was talking about, those are not going to include concrete driveway. And if I may, I know this is getting a little nerdy, cement is an ingredient in concrete. So concrete is the aggregate, which is rocks and sand and cement. So Portland cement is one of the most important ingredient in concrete and making things hard. So we refer to, when we order concrete or a concrete mix, it is mixed. It is a certain, typically 3,000 PSI concrete mix. So there's a 2-for-1, Stacy, answer to your question.
All right. We got Zach asking, what about basements or root cellar type rooms under the foundation?
Yeah, that's not a thing for us.
So you found the things we don't
do that.
Yep. We've got Andy asking, hey, joining late. What is the process to purchase any more cabinets after the house is completed? Example, the laundry room, etc.
I've not been asked that question. We don't sell them. You could contact Kent Moore directly if you wanted to, and see if I know they do remodels for sure. I know that for a fact, because that's what their showrooms are kind of designed for, is remodeling. So I don't see any reason why they wouldn't sell them to you.
Yeah, I would think that they would.
Take that, Kent Moore. Good luck. Allow us to speak on your behalf.
Allow us to say yes, they will. Yes, they will. We've got Christian saying Deborah and Melissa has been awesome as we shoehorned in our custom additions to our
Beautiful.
Magnolia.
Yeah, Deborah Hamilton
Awesome.
Reed, award-winning sales consultant. Award-winning.
Yes. He's also saying we have to be the most widespread Tilson customer
Seriously.
living in DFW, bought with Melissa and doing design in Bernie to live in
a long
Bandera.
way.
Yeah, you've been. And then you said you're going to San Marcos this weekend.
There's a lot of, you are covering a lot of Texas. So
you are having the full experience. Most people who do that like work for us. Like, that's how
true.
you get that.
That's like my job.
We've got Melissa. Good afternoon. My hubby and I are in the very early stages of building a LaPorte C in Burnett County. Construction began March 25th. Slab pouring scheduled for this Friday, weather permitting. Can you provide an estimate of construction?
Yeah,
time?
and Burnett, you need to allow probably 250 or 300 days of construction. I mean, obviously as fast as we can, right, Melissa? That's what we want to do. But in Burnett County is still a hot area for all builders. I mean, everybody running out, everybody who's been displaced out of Austin, they're headed north and west and running away. And Burnett County is the next county over from Travis.
Right.
And just as beautiful, if not, in my opinion, prettier. But because nothing about Austin is pretty. Take that note. Kidding. It's a school thing.
He went to A&M. He went to A&M.
But that to say, don't forget our business model, right? Like we've locked you on a price that, we don't get paid, particularly if we're doing a mortgage, we don't get paid a dime until the house is completely finished. So time is of the essence for us. We're exposed to any price fluctuations that are going on during that build time. So believe me when I tell you that the builders are crystal clear on the mission, and that is get the house built as quickly as you can without sacrificing quality or safety. So I would, they're going to shoot for 225-day build time, but that's not happening in Burnett County just yet. Burnett County, Gillespie County, probably Navarro County, there's still a few that it's just still, the trades are still backed up. Thankfully, there's still people moving to Texas. We're thankful for some of the people moving to Texas. We're not thankful for all of them, but we are thankful for some of them. Most of them, I would say. Most of them. Sorry.
Hey, Nate
go in the comments. Tell me I'm wrong. We can be real here with one another. We're a family. We love each other.
We love everyone on here.
Yeah,
if you're coming to build on your land,
it's
the ones that are going into like the little where they're adding population where we don't need population. That's what we don't like.
Sorry, Dawn. Good luck.
Nate saying, what do you think about building using smart steel instead of wood? Also, what warranties does Tilson provide?
We'll do the warranties first, Nate. So we do a 1, 2, and 10. So 1 year is, I call it brick to brick, kind of bumper to bumper. Everything you can see, touch, smell, feel, look at inside that house, that's all covered for 1 year. So cracked tile, cracked window, floors popping loose or anything like that. That's a year. Sheetrock cracks, that kind of stuff. There's a 2-year warranty on all your mechanicals. So your HVAC, electrical, and plumbing is all covered for 2 years. And by the way, this is just through Tilson. So I'm not talking about manufacturer's warranties. There's more coverage there. And then 10-year is your structural. So slab basically is your slab and frame. Any structural defects, that kind of thing is covered for 10 years. All right. And we actually back it up. So in other words, we're not, it is insured by it is done through a third party. We use Structure warranty, but it's not a third party that you contact. Okay. They're really only there.
They don't administer it.
They're really just for dispute.
They insure it.
I mean, honestly,
yeah.
It's so we have our own warranty company, our own warranty department. I'm sorry. You call our warranty team, and a Tilson employee answers the phone for your Tilson home, and a Tilson employee drives in a Tilson vehicle to fix your Tilson home. They are full-time Tilson employees, and that's all they do. Now, obviously, we're going to send a trade if it's your AC. We're not going to send our warranty tech out to fix your AC. We're going to call the AC company, and they're going to send their tech out there because they're licensed and they're AC people and all that kind of stuff. And then again, that's all Tilson stuff. That has got nothing to do with the manufacturer's warranty. So like your Linux AC system, there's a I think, a 10-year warranty on the air handler, and probably 5-year warranty on the compressor. You've got
Make sure you register it all when you
got to register
close.
it all.
Fill out all the little
Yep.
forms.
You got limited lifetime warranty on the shingles, limited lifetime warranty on the windows, limited lifetime warranty on your plumbing fixtures. So we're not talking about any of that. That's Tilson warranty. Okay. Smart steel instead of wood. I'd much rather take smart steel over stupid steel for sure. But like, I'm not really familiar with smart steel, but I can tell you this: us and our trades don't work with steel, and that's where I think would be the limiting. I love the idea of building with steel. Obviously, I mean, they're perfect. They're made in a factory. Every single steel stud is going to be, I mean, unless you run it over with a car, is going to be perfectly fine, perfect.
Right.
And that's not the case with wood. You do have to cull some and make adjustments. The trouble is it fluctuates much. Summer of 2021 being the exception, wood is always going to be cheaper than steel. And that's from a procurement, just from acquiring the material standpoint. And then it is for sure there is a much larger labor pool that knows how to work with wood as opposed to steel. That's where you're going to really get caught up in cost. It is very difficult to find. There's just not as much labor that is familiar with having to do it. So you're going to pay a premium because the supply is not there, right? So
particularly to get them out into the areas where we typically
That's exactly right. And then also, we're not talking about just the framer, right? Like that's obviously the major component, but do electricians know how to work with it? Do the plumbers know how to work with it? Do the HVAC people know how to work with it? So that's really, for residential construction, that's going to be the biggest limiter on working with steel in the short term. That may change in the long term, but the labor base just not being skilled in working with steel.
Okay, makes sense. Kristen is asking, after construction is done, is there someone that comes out to clean up all the construction debris inside the home and outside around the property?
Yeah, Kristen, we do what's called a final clean. We do a final grade, which is the outside of the property stuff, and also a final clean. And so, yeah, and I do believe, I can't remember what, I think, I'm trying to think, a tasteful way to say this. I think we used to say it's left broom clean. I can't remember if it was in the contract. I know it was on the old building specifications, maybe the contract or not, but it may not be up to mama standards is what I'm telling you. Okay. That is the non-lawyer speak. So there may be dust still in some of the drawers, that's something to think about, but it's, yes, we do a final clean inside and outside the home.
And I'm also going to say, if you have like extra stone and extra building materials that you would prefer to keep, or talk to your builder about that before your final clean happens, because we have had some people who get upset because according to our contract, we have to take all of that away. So if you want to keep that for, building mailbox surrounds or, planters or, outdoor fire pits or anything like that, tell your builder ahead of time and make sure that's cool.
And also, on that note, know that you have paid for everything that is inside your home. It goes on your home.
Right.
The material, excess material belongs to us. If we choose to leave it, that is our choice. Just want to be crystal clear, because we have had that pop up too, where we'll send a framer over to a job site where we know we have 20 extra 2x4s, get those, and customer gets upset. Like, those are extra. You paid for the ones that are inside your home. Similarly to, if we run out of material and have to order 20 or 30 extra 2x6s, we're not going to come charge you for them either. So the material belongs to everything that's not used on the home does belong to Tilson, which is, to Dawn's point, is why we're going to haul it off and make it dumped. If not, and so usually the builder will get with you on that, particularly the stone. That's probably the main one. They'll ask, hey, do you want us to leave it? You want me to take it? And just communicate. I mean, call them ahead of time, like, hey, if you're not going to use it, I'd like to keep that, or be sure you get that trash off my property, because I ain't dealing with it.
This gone. I don't want to hold stone. Let's see. We got Clayton. We are building on 20 acres with no restrictions in Brown County. Are there any concerns with building in this area from your experience?
No, not at all. No concerns whatsoever. I mean, the property is going to be what it's going to be, whether it's out of level or whatever, but Brown County is great. I mean, Brownwood, Bangs, all those areas, we have a lot of experience in those spots.
All right. Elizabeth is asking if we are similar to UBH.
In that we're home builders, yes.
We build homes on your land. That's
probably where the similarities end.
Yes.
I'd say talk to customers. Obviously, go shop, go through model homes. I think they're getting away from doing model homes. With the model homes,
Yeah.
I know their financing is very different. Their financing is actual in-house financing. That's different. Okay, you're going to pay a higher rate.
Right. Yeah, be specific with them about rates and when payments start. The other thing I'll say is look at standard features very carefully when you're looking at what's included in the home. If there feels like there's a key component missing, that tends to imply that it's not there. So floor coverings, things like that, not necessarily
Interior
included
paint
in their homes from what I know about them.
appliances.
So if it's not specified, yes, ask very specific. I think they do now have a couple homes that it is included in, but for most of them it's not. So just be very, and honestly I would recommend this any builder you're talking about. Be very, be very specific. Make sure that you are comparing apples to apples. Ask all the questions about how does the financing work? When do the payments start? What all is included in the home? Just make sure you're getting very, very specific advice.
They're also based in
answers.
Arkansas, so there's that.
Yes, there's that. All right. Usman is asking for a future project. If I wanted to extend my patio, can the flatwork touch the existing foundation slab, or should there be some space?
I recommend an expansion joint. It can touch, but I recommend an expansion joint of some sort. Usman, that's a great question. But I would put a treated one before between them and go from there. I probably would not have them touch because they are going to move differently, so it could create a crack of pressure. So
okay. Wendy is verifying that Kentmore will help you with extra cabinets because they helped her after closing. Thank you, Wendy.
I forgot they did that.
Yeah. We got Maria asking, what is the first step to take if considering building? I already have land. You took the first step. That's great. That's awesome. I would say go ahead and reach out to one of our new home specialists. You can get them through the phone number on our website or through that contact form, and they can talk to you, answer all of your preliminary questions, and then get you scheduled to meet with a design consultant in one of our locations, and they can take it with you from there. Like Eric was saying, they're the best ones to kind of give you advice, narrow down the floor plans that you're looking at, and make sure that you're really getting the home that you want. We've got Zach asking spray-in insulation versus conventional, pros and cons.
Zach does not want anyone to get to go home today. Everyone is going to get to stay longer.
We haven't even opened our PowerPoint. We're an hour in.
I was like, I haven't opened. I'm ready to share.
We're going to abandon it.
Good.
We'll try again next week.
Our people took over the show. Perfect. All right. So look, they're both good. Some insulation better than none. Bats. So we did historically, and still in many under construction, did bats in the walls and then blown in the attic. There's bats, there's bibs, there's several different, I'm going to say a lot. There's several different ways to do insulation in a home. Of course, there's spray foam, both open cell and closed cell. Do not do closed cell in a house. Closed cell spray foam is not a thing in a house. Great for commercial, not good for houses. Okay, so the advantage of open cell spray foam insulation has nothing to do with its R value. In fact, you actually get less R value in spray foam than you get with conventional. So I would say one pro with conventional is that you are getting a higher R value. So like you'll get R15 in exterior wall, R38 in an attic. Whereas with spray foam, you're going to get R11 or 13 in the wall and R19 or R21 in your attic because we're sealing the rafters. So that's one advantage that conventional has over spray foam. The real advantage of spray foam is how tight it makes your home. So it's different areas of the country. We're a big country. United States is a big country. Texas is a big state. We have a lot of different climates. The way houses need to be built in Montana are very different than the way houses need to be built in Rockport. So they have different needs. In Rockport, I don't need to worry about 40 degrees below zero and a 4-foot snow load. Like, never going to happen. Montana doesn't have to worry about a hurricane. So they're built very different. So we have chosen to take a path towards insulation based towards spray foam based on where we see the code going in 2021, 2024, and beyond. because the focus for where we build is on tightness, is on minimizing or decreasing the air changes per hour. So the big problem we have in the majority of Texas is it gets really, really hot, and we pay a lot of money to air condition our homes, and we don't want that cold AC that we're paying for to leak out of the house. So we have chosen to say, okay, spray foam is the best solution. Our value isn't as big a deal until you are like in a super, super, super cold area, Wyoming, Massachusetts, stuff like that. Like you need R48, R50 to be able to sustain. You're paying to keep the warmth in the house. We don't have that problem here. It's not a thing. So we have chosen the spray foam route for the tightness that it gets. So we do spray foam. When you do spray foam, you do have to have, so that's its pro, is your way tighter house. You're going to lose less of your heat and cool that you're paying to put in your house. Other advantage spray foam has is it gets the insulation off the floor of the attic and up onto the rafters. So if you are a pack rat and you like to store things in your attic, which by the way, they're not rated for storing a whole bunch of stuff. It's not a second floor.
If you can't get it up the staircase,
you should not be putting it up there. No. If it takes two of you to get it up the staircase, you still should not be putting it up there.
If it's team lift,
no. Yeah, do not do that. So that's another advantage. But the biggest advantage spray foam has is the tightness. It seals up the entire thermal envelope, and you get a lot less air loss, which is the big focus where we build.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question. Sorry, guys. I know we're going over, but you talked about the 2021 energy code as if it were the future. Did you just forget what year it was, or
Great
that...
question, Dawn. I'm glad you. I actually thought as soon as I said that, I'm like, that sounded ridiculous. But
yes,
it's true. So not everywhere has adopted. So most places in Texas are still building to the 2015 code, the 2015 building code, or even and some have adopted 2018. And a small handful have adopted the 2021. I want to say the state, I could be wrong about this. The state, there is state law. The state does have a building code, so we could probably Google it. I think it's either 2009 or 2013. It may be 2015, the code. But so 2021 has been adopted by some municipalities, a lot of them in North Texas, but all over. I think City of Pflugerville has adopted it, and others have adopted the 2021 code. And most of the changes that we see now are energy related changes. So they're already working on the 2024 code. These code people can't leave it alone. They're like,
yeah, the codes are named for the year they were written in, but they're usually more like performance standards, right? Like thou shalt be like this, and then every state and municipality individually is like, this is how we think you shall do this.
Yeah, there are performance measures and there are prescriptive measures. So prescriptive is thou shalt, like you will build a stud this far away from the other stud. That's prescriptive. Performance-based, which is what we're talking about with insulation, is you shall have no more than 3 air changes per hour. We don't really care how you accomplish that, but you can't have more than 3. So that's where you have some options. Builders have options of like, okay, well, how am I going to skin this cat? But some cities won't give you that option. They'll say, yeah, you can't have more than 3. And oh, by the way, you must use this. Like, okay, fine. So that's where, and it varies, across the state. So the 2021 code is out there. It's not very widely adopted yet. But again, the 2024 is already being written, and fortunately, our legislature in Texas only meets every other year. Thank the Lord, for 5 months. And the only thing they have to do by state constitution law is pass a budget. That's it. Nice. Anything else is just probably getting in the way of the citizenry. But but they must pass a budget. But that's all they have to do, which is why you see not a lot of laws get passed in Texas. A lot of them die in committee, which is fantastic. So because it has to be really, really, really important. You have from January to the end of May every other year to get your stuff passed. And if it doesn't get passed, now the governor can call a special session if they need to, or if the budget's not passed, he can call them back. But yeah, you ain't going to make a good living in Texas being a legislator. That's for sure.
You should. That shouldn't be a job. That shouldn't be a job.
You should have a job.
You should have like a real job and live like
makes you pay
people.
Taxes, so you have consequences.
Yeah, you should be accountable for what you're passing. That's just. We got Zach. Do y'all do any metal roofs?
Yes, we do metal roofs.
Yes, we do.
Mm-hmm. They're purely cosmetic. Just putting it out there.
Yep. Sidro is asking, we were told our build is less than 8 weeks away. It's been a long 2 year
Can be,
wait.
yeah.
Oh, well, we're
glad we're getting there.
Yeah. Christian is asking, where do we get some Tilson swag, t-shirts, hats, etc.? I'm great as a human
Dawn,
billboard.
where?
So Christian, you mentioned that you were going to Bernie for your color appointment. So I will reach out to a lovely lady named Peyton. She is the keeper. She has some Tilson hats hidden in the back there. I'll make sure that you get a couple of those.
Not anymore.
If you get, oh, you took them
No,
all?
you just said they're hidden in the back.
Her office locks. But I'll make sure that they have hats for you. T-shirts, if you get them to take a picture during your color appointment and we share it on our website, on our social media platforms, you are entitled to t-shirts. So we will send you a link once we post that to claim your t-shirt and get those sent out to you. So we would love for you to rep us as our human billboard. So that's awesome. We appreciate that. Shannon has an opinion about UBH, so I'll just show it and not say it out loud so I don't get sued. This is Shannon's opinion. And then Corey wants to know what determines if you qualify for Easy Buy.
Dawn, I've talked enough. Take it away.
All right. So what we're going to be looking for our Easy Buy program is the first thing is we are looking for 10% equity in the final value of your home, which is going to be taking the house price plus the land value, the home value plus the land value, putting them together. We're going to have a third party appraiser say this is what that's worth. You're going to need to have 10% equity in that. The second thing is that we need you to qualify for your regular 30-year mortgage. So preferably through one of our preferred lenders, just because they understand how we work. But they're going to provide to us a qualification letter that says, yes, Corey can pay for this house and this is her budget. And once that's all done, that you qualify for Easy Buy. That's really all there is to it. And like Eric was saying, other than your upfront $3,000 deposit, you are not going to pay us anything else until we finish your home. And that's how Easy Buy works. No construction loan, no payments, no interest, no anything. We are the world's worst construction lenders in that frame. We're gonna take care of it, and that's why we really want to get your home done as quickly as possible. And then, like Eric was also saying, we warranty our own houses, which is what keeps us honest to make sure that we are not sacrificing quality to get you across that finish line, because we are the people you're calling if anything's wrong. So, all right, we've got Linda saying, "Hey, I sure do miss y'all. I had to start work at 2 lately." No, you did. We need to renegotiate. Yeah. Tell us your employer we'll renegotiate.
Yeah, tell him, give him my number. Tell him to call.
Just wanted to say hi. I love my home. I'm so glad to hear that. All right. I think this also is in reference to UBH. So I'm just going to put this is Kenneth's opinion of why he likes us better to answer that. Zach is saying thank you both, and thank you, Kenneth, for sharing.
Thanks for watching.
Usman is asking, whole house surge protectors. I see that is in the latest electrical code, but my county is adhering to the last iteration. How do I determine the size of the surge protector? Should I want
I would reach out to an electrician. That I will defer to an electrician. Some of them go by, the amp size, 200 amp, 320 amp. But I would let your electrician tell you what size whole house surge protector that you need.
Okay. We've got Michelle saying, we are looking at building the bare floor plan. I've heard y'all mention in a previous video that we should choose a floor plan, and then if we like a different elevation from a different plan, it is not too difficult to change. I realize that depends on the material used, but roughly how much could that change the price of the home?
It can change it none, or it could change it $75,000. I know that's a broad range.
It could be less.
It could be less. But yeah, so what most people are looking at doing, if you're just starting with a bare, something like that, if you want it to look like a different home, you're probably going to end up adding porch, and some gables probably. So usually what you're after is going to be like porch, gables, and stone. And so all of those things will cost more. So the porch will just be however big the porch that you make. But I don't see people getting too crazy carried away. Most of them get it done for between $15,000 to $30,000 to get it to change. Again, it's going to look similar to the other elevation. It probably won't look identical to what you're chasing after. It'll look similar. But a sales consultant can sit down and price that out, item by item, because it's going to be several. Like I said, you're going to have a porch component that you pay for. You're going to have some type of facade, whether it's stone or brick or stucco or something component, and then cedar, and then some kind of gable, the roof that you're going for. Because if I remember, the bear's pretty simple. So if you doll it up, if I may use the phrase, you are going to end up probably spending more money to make it appear more like a canyon or a driftwood or something like that.
Which is the right thing to do. Get what you want. Get what you want. All right, and that is the last question.
So now we'll start the PowerPoint, everybody.
We'll tell you what everybody else's questions are.
No, hey, y'all are awesome. Thank y'all so much for watching this and asking these questions. This has been wonderful. Obviously, people have questions, and that's a very good thing. And you're come to the right. We're a great source. I mean, we're kind of a one-trick pony. This is what we do. We build homes on people's land in rural Texas. Dawn, what else is going on this weekend?
I forgot to do the thing.
They're all gone.
Many toy. Yeah, they are. They're all gone. We are doing the Behind the Sheetrock seminar this weekend at the Palo Duro. It is our new model in San Marcos that Christian was talking about. So this is actually one of our VPs of construction, Jeff Waite, the VP of construction for the area. He is going to be walking you through that model. It is currently in the mechanical stage. So you can actually look where the real quality of a home is, which is all the pretty stuff that you don't see once the pretty stuff is in and it's all finished. It's the walls and the foundation and all of that. So you can actually see that, and he'll talk you through why we use the materials we use, how we do it, why is very important. That's something when you're talking to a builder, like all these other materials, every material has its all advantages and disadvantages. So you want to ask somebody, why do you do it like this? Because that tells you a lot more about the builder than the actual materials. That they're using, in my opinion. So if you want to register, that's the QR code. You can register for that.
All right. So we got that going on. We got the Waco happenings. It doesn't have to end here. I will make this abbreviated. We got 12 locations across the state. We got a website. We got a Facebook page. We got a YouTube channel with tons of content. We have new home specialists on standby to answer your high-level questions on the telephone right now. So hit them up. We would love to help you any way that we can. We hope that you find these things very, very helpful, and we soon hope you make hope to make you part of the Tilson family. We'll talk to y'all later.
Bye, everybody.